Welcome to your daily astrology horoscope for June 12th, 2021, which is a Saturday. But before we begin, I want to let you know that I do daily video horoscopes, weekly video horoscopes, monthly video horoscopes, and monthly sun rising sign video horoscopes. You can watch them all on my YouTube channel or on my website called www.realmofastrology.com. Also, please hit the subscribe button. All right, so let's talk about what's happening today. And the first thing happens about midnight, June 10th midnight, June 11th beginning, and that is the Moon Venus conjunction. They are meeting up, and this is a feel good energy. The Moon is our emotional body, and Venus is our love, our partnerships, our relationships, our projects, our finances, self worth, values, skills. So at this point, when they meet up, we are feeling very good about these things. And they're meeting up in the sign of Cancer, so we are even feeling very comfortable about these things in our life at this moment at about midnight. And this energy right here is in a sextile to Uranus and in a square to Chiron. And this feeling, this positive emotion regarding all Venus related things can come out of nowhere. It can be unexpected, it can be sudden, and it can have a healing element which might feel bittersweet. However, I don't think it's bittersweet, I just think there's healing in it. And all this is happening as Saturn and Uranus are going to square. The square is going to come exact on June 14th, so there's not much time for it. So the square is really building up, and that's in the background. And that energy is about getting rid of old things, old structures, old thought patterns, and coming into your own, embracing the new, embracing your uniqueness, embracing your authentic self. And with this Moon Venus conjunction, square Chiron, sextile Uranus, somehow this whole moment here ties into that Saturn-Uranus square that we're building into. Perhaps the relationships we're in, the projects that we're working towards, we feel good. And that helps us come into our own. That helps us be more authentic. That helps us say, okay, this new thing that I'm trying is working, so maybe I can shed the old. So it all ties into one another, and there's healing in that. There's healing to your identity in that, to your soul, to your consciousness. And speaking of all this energy, Uranus today is going to hit 13 degrees. That's going to happen later in the day and we'll see it, but it's going to hit 13 degrees. And what does that mean? Uranus is a slow-moving planet. It takes about 7 years to go through one sign, right? And about 84 years to take one complete circle of the zodiac. And it moving 1 degree means we are seeing forward progress in our life. In all things that make us our authentic selves, in all things unique, in all things scientific, that's where we are seeing forward movement, because Uranus is all those things. And in the sign of Taurus, it is connected to our self-worth, it is connected to our finances and values, this forward movement. So that's the highlight of today, this energy. And speaking of this energy, Venus is going to move to 12 degrees, 13 degrees, and sextile Uranus. We're building into that energy. There's still a little bit of time for that. It does not happen today. And we are also building into the Sun-Neptune square. It's going to happen, I believe, on June 13th, around then. And this energy can go either way. Either one can feel really confused about one's identity, consciousness, who they are, all those things, or one can feel totally aligned in their identity, in their consciousness, in their soul with the higher spiritual path. So it really depends what it is for you. Or if it's none of these things, the square will propel you to align your soul, your consciousness, your identity, the sun, with your spirituality, Neptune. And the reason I'm talking about it today is because we're building up. And in astrology, the build up is everything. Once it happens, once the peak happens, the energy starts to decline. So it's in the build up that you see everything unfold. And yeah, There's one more important aspect the moon's going to make, and that happens at 10 p.m. tonight. So let me move up the chart so you can see that. And by that time, Uranus has also hit 13 degrees. So let's see that. And let's talk about the aspect the moon is making first. At about 10 p.m. Pacific time, the moon here is going to trine Neptune. And I think this is a great thing, considering the fact that Neptune has been squaring all this energy. It is going to square the sun. It's been confusing. It has been. It could have been magical, yes, but the other side of Neptune is confusion, delusion, addictions, depression. And that Neptune energy is not easy. It's not an easy energy. And with the trine to the moon, finally Neptune is making a positive aspect to something that moves around really fast, because Neptune has been in a sextile to Pluto constantly. It's been in a constant sextile. So that's a positive aspect Neptune has been making throughout. However, on a day-to-day basis, finally it's made a positive aspect to the moon, and this could be a really magical feeling. This could be a positive feeling. And this is connected to our emotions. It's definitely connected to how we are feeling. So that's a positive. And here you can see Uranus has hit 13 degrees. And let me clean up the chart. Saturn is at 1310. Uranus is at 1302. They are building up to the exact square. And I keep mentioning it that these few days are a build up to the Saturn-Uranus square. This is when the energy is the most intense, and the fact that Sun and Neptune are going to square is just intensifying the energy. And this is a day, 2 days after the solar eclipse in Gemini, which was in square to Neptune. So I would say, and Mercury is also retrograde right now. So I would just say, try to let this energy pass without taking decisions, without taking action, without doing something new. Just observe what's going on and just let this energy pass. It will pass. It's a few days. And yeah, I do want to mention again today that Mars has changed signs. From Cancer, it did enter the sign of Leo yesterday, and this is good for us. This is good for how we take action, our drive, our willpower, our courage, because Mars in Cancer works in a very receptive way. Before taking action, we figure out, are we comfortable, are we not? But that direct thing, okay, I'm going to take action no matter what, that goes away when Mars is in Cancer, which it has been for the past 40 days until yesterday. But now in Leo, as we take action, as we find the courage within ourselves, all this will be done from a place of our heart. What does my heart desire? I'll take action towards that, because Leo is the heart. And it will also be from a place of love, because Leo is also love. So that's how we are going to take action, with our heart, with love, with passion. And that's all I'll leave you with. I will give you a very brief background on what's been happening in the astrology. And the first thing I want to talk about is the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. These planets met up in Jan of 2020, and they meet up once in 33 to 38 years. So it's a big deal when they met up. And in Jan of 2020, they met up in Capricorn, the sign that rules our material reality. So when they met up, they changed something in a very powerful way connected to our material reality. And this new cycle that we began in Jan of 2020 will be with us till 2053. And let me also mention that we have a full moon in Capricorn coming up on June 24th. And that is when this Saturn-Pluto cycle that started in Jan of 2020 will really reveal itself. Don't get me wrong, our lives have changed. But to know to be able to see very clearly how it's changed, what's new for you, what that new cycle, new shift happened in Jan of 2020 for you, will totally reveal itself by June 24th, because that's when we have the full moon in Capricorn. And The next thing I want to talk about is the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction. These planets meet up once in 20 years, so it's a rare event as well. And they start a new cycle when they meet up. So they met up in December of 2020, and we started a new cycle. And we lay the foundation for this 20-year cycle in the next 2 years. That's another thing I wanted to mention. And this Saturn-Jupiter conjunction is special. Yes, they meet up every 20 years, but it's after 200 years that they've met up in an air sign. And this means that the focus of our life is going to shift from what? They've been meeting up in earth signs. It's going to shift from stability. It's going to shift from finding material security, agriculture, all material things, to air things, intellectual things, scientific things, progress, equality, humanity, innovation. That's going to be the focus for at least the next 20 years. And the last thing I want to talk about are the nodes, the North Node. Sorry, this is the second last thing. I will come back to the Saturn-Uranus square because it's important. North Node is in Gemini and South Node is in Sag, okay? And the nodes are karmic. They bring up karmic things. So think about your life in 2001 and 2003. Certain themes, events, situations, people may be repeating in your life right now, maybe coming back. And the purpose of that is so that you can review them, process them, close them out, or build further on them. And we have been in this energy since May of 2020. And the last thing I want to talk about is the Saturn-Uranus square. Now, this square is the highlight of the year. Even we'll feel this energy next year. Yes, they're coming exact on June 14th. They came exact on Feb. Then they will come exact in December again. But this whole year, we will feel the intensity of this energy. And this energy is not easy. This energy is rare. We are seeing a Saturn-Uranus square after 21 years. So it's not that every year we see this happen. No, it's rare. And I believe the purpose of the Saturn-Uranus square, especially after the Saturn-Pluto conjunction that took place last year, especially after the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction that took place in December, which started 2 new cycles for us, cycles of the long run. This square is coming at a time where it's really telling us to get rid of the old cycle and embrace the new. And that's what this energy is. So that's all for today, and I will pick a card. I will. And to sum it up, today we are building up into a lot of intensity coming up. And we are also a day or two after the solar eclipse that happened, which was very intense. So we are in intense times. We are, I would even say, confusing times for some, not for everybody, for some, if it applies to you. And we are also in changing times, a lot of change happening. And change feels stressful. Change requires growth. So this is where we are at right now. And I'll pick a card. Let's see what the universe has to say to us today. I'm going to go with this one. It says breathe. It says breathe. And I think it makes sense because we are building up. We are building up into the intensity. And there's not much we can do right now but breathe. And like I said, it's not the time for taking decisions. It's not the time for taking action. It's not the time to reach to conclusions because Mercury is retrograde and Neptune did square all the eclipse energy. And it will square the sun. We are building up to that, so that there can be confusion, there can be delusions, there can be an inability to see things clearly. And in lieu of that, what is the best thing we can do? Take a moment out and breathe. Because that's all we can do really right now. Not react, not overreact, not be overly sensitive, and just observe. That's what I said in the reading today, that we need to observe right now. And this card, when you sit in meditation, you observe your thoughts, you observe your mind. And that's what we need to do. So today is a day where we don't need to do anything, we don't need to decide anything. things are building up and things will happen on their own, whatever is meant to happen. And we need to rest. We need to take care of ourselves. The moon has been in Cancer, and I did say in yesterday's reading that for the next 2.5 days after the eclipse, we will be focused on taking care of ourselves, on going within, on nurturing ourselves, our emotions, being with close friends, close family. And perhaps this is a message in lieu of that as well. So it sums it up that today, breathe, take it easy, nourish yourself, take care of yourself. There is a lot of energy, there's a lot of intensity, and it's not the best time to take direct action, to take those decisions. So just breathe, go within, let this energy pass. And have a great day. Do hit the subscribe button if you like this video, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.